Welcome, everybody. We are here today doing day 3 of the 9 candle journey. And we have Jeffrey, who is not a candle, he's a real person.
Hello.
These candles look very real that we have this time. And the journey this time, when I was thinking about it, I wanted to have things that spark joy in us and bring us each time. I have a candle on my desk always when I'm working, and when I light that candle I can just feel that little flicker of joy gives me an extra little boost. It's like kind of energy I get off the grids and stuff. It's that extra little boost of something to help us get it, make it through the night, as they say. And so when I was planning this time, and you'll see because I'm going to cut the candles. Hello, Jeffrey, do you want to say hi?
Hello, hello, hello.
Okay. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about things that spark joy, and you should never go looking for candles before you've eaten breakfast because you'll come back with this. So we have blueberry pie and banana waffles. We've got cheese. We've got watermelon. We've got a tooth because if we eat all this stuff, we're going to need to see the dentist. There's a lovely sweet. Um, one of my kids said it looks more like a, a coffee martini, that kind of coffee martini, which I don't know anything about, but coffee martini. We have a piece of cheese, and they have these last two little candles for the last couple days because they're short and they will burn through quickly. So we've already lit blueberry pie and banana, and you'll see me light those as I go through the intro. And then Jeffrey has chosen watermelon for his candle. So we'll see how's his candle.
I like it because can you imagine trying to cut a watermelon like that?
No, and I want you to all know that every one of these is scented, and it smells like what it's supposed to taste like. So my office now smells like the back of a bad deli. But we're gonna light the candles and enough of the weirdness of my life. And as we light this candle, we invite the spirit of joy to rise within us. This flame is a whisper of freedom, a reminder that light lives in every smallest moment. With each wick, we awaken and honor our journey, one step, one spark at a time. We bring to the flame that which makes our heart smile and which gives our spirit wings. Let this be our offering of a glimmer of gratitude, a breath of hope, a radiant joy that we all deserve. So may it be that we will light with love and intention. And on day 3, these 3 flames flicker. Set the flames to flickering. Come on, light. And then Jeffrey.
Looks
These
like
3 flames flicker. Does it work? Okay. Um, and the light that's right, it flicker and weaving warmth into our days. And it's getting warmer over here on this side of me. Let me tell you guys. Um, and the light is rising, touching our hearts, softening our steps. Let this glow remind us of the power that small joys when they're gathered over time. So, and your candle lit, Jeffrey. Yay. Oh God, does it smell like watermelon? Oh.
it's funny because yesterday I had guests here and we were
Mm-hmm.
just talking about, I don't know, general stuff. And I was like, fruit is my favorite food in the world. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of fruit? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love fruit. I eat as much fruit as I possibly can.
You live in a great country for fruit. Let me
I
tell you
live in a
where
great
most of
country
our
for
fruit
fruit.
comes from.
And it's mango season now.
Um,
Yeah, one of our favorite seasons here in Mexico. One of
who
our
would have
favorite
thought?
seasons. And actually, I really look for the joy every day. I have a garden and the plants are being happy and makes me happy. There's a place here that sells tacos. They're open really late. They're like across the street, like one block up, and they have little tiny kids. And the kids are like playing on the street and, they're screaming and they're jumping and it makes me happy. It
Hmm.
makes me happy. And they're not shy. Like you're sitting, the place is super small and you're sitting at the table and you're kind of like this. It's
Hmm.
like two tables. And the kids have no problem crawling all over you, like getting something. Just it's like, okay.
Yeah, I love it. I can't imagine living where there aren't children. There are children across the street from me, and I can hear in the evening when dad's come home and he said they've got to go outdoors, and you hear them screaming up and down the sidewalk.
Hmm.
And I lived in an apartment once when Sean and Casey were toddlers and a little bit older, and um, they they passed a law, and you didn't have to rent families anymore. And so we were told that at the end of that lease, they would not re-sign a lease with us. And the place had been originally built by the US government to create housing after World War II. So there are
Right.
lovely
It's family housing.
two bedrooms, one and a half, two bath apartments with big courtyards in the back for the kids to run and play. And we were in a creek bed in the woods. And it was just, we were so away from busy cars and stuff. It was really hard to find a place to go live after that. We had to go into a single family home because nobody in that area of town was renting to people with kids anymore. It became fashionable.
Mhm.
And trust me, because when my kids were little, I wouldn't have been living in a fashionable neighborhood when I was in graduate school. So I can't imagine life without the sounds of small children. And I know there are people who really don't like it, but I don't
Now,
understand.
there are a lot of little kids in my neighborhood, like really little ones, and it
Mhm.
makes me happy. You see them playing on the street, and they can make something out of nothing. They don't even need anything. They
Mhm.
pretend they have something in their hand, and the other
Mhm.
one believes it.
And they're outside playing,
Yeah.
which the other thing you don't see in the US much, you know.
They
Every
really let children be children here. They really let children be children. It's really nice.
Mhm.
Really nice. I live near a beautiful, beautiful park. It's like an elegant, um, urban park. It's like a block big. There's, museums around. It's very elegant. It's all marble, tons of statues, lots of fountains. It's like fountain after fountain after fountain. And one of them is just this enormous fountain. And you would think like when people walk by, it's pristine. All the kids are in it. They're all
Mhm.
screaming and splashing each other and sitting on the thing, and then it goes all over.
Mhm. Yeah, they have.
It's really fun.
I know, I love it. There's a thing called the Water Garden in Fort Worth, and it's literally a waterfall that's built in the side of this block, and it's in the Arts District. And I can remember taking my kids there when they were little and just letting them run loose in the water garden and letting them climb up in it and staying with them so that they didn't tumble down the bricks. But um, it was a beautiful, fun place. And I can remember some people walking by being disapproving, but I'd already found out that the water garden didn't care. They, as
Mhm.
long as kids couldn't go above a certain point, but before that, they could be in there. And
Well, it's not just that. It's like people dance on the street here. People sing on the street. There's always something going on.
mhm.
I really like it. It's really alive.
Well, we've
It's
been
really alive.
dancing on the streets here, but they've been demonstrations. So,
Mm.
but they've been big. They've been fun.
Mhm.
They've been looking
Mhm.
like people are having a good time.
That's important.
Yeah,
Makes you
I
want to come
mean, and
back.
that really is
Makes you feel like you're accomplishing something.
right. That is lighting your flame. That's going. If you all go home and hide, um, and that's what the importance of the book you've done about shadow work, about getting past the things you're afraid of or showing your face in public and stuff like that.
Mm.
That's all wrong. I mean, human souls and human spirits are meant to be together and
Yeah, and
unified
shine and
and not
shine.
in a quote house of worship, however you define that, where the rules are so you can't even talk to people and stuff. It's I was conveying to someone a story that um, we have we have a daily paper here called the Dallas Morning News, and it's a big paper. It goes all over the state. That and the one from Houston are sort of what small towns have now, since all of them, for the most part, have lost a lot of their newspapers. And there was a set of demonstrations, they didn't even cover them.
Wow.
And and they caught all kinds of hell from their retired people who were all on all the social networking saying, what the hell? This was huge. Nothing's like this has ever happened before. And they were naming the editors that were making these decisions and telling people, don't support this paper. You're going to
Mm,
get more news talking to your neighbor who went to the demonstration and saw
right,
100,000 people there.
right,
So,
right.
um, and somebody was saying, well, that's awful. And I said, it's been that way for years. When Susan was little, we were sitting in church, and I went to an Episcopal church. I did not go to a Baptist church where people yell out during the service. I have no idea where she got the idea she could do this. But the priest was talking about something, and it hadn't been in the paper. And he said, it's so sad that this isn't being covered much locally. And Susan said out loud, I mean, it was the early service, it wasn't the big service, but Susan said out loud, that's a Dallas morning snooze. They don't cover anything. You know? And the whole congregation just rolled out laughing. And I had a really laid back priest, and he thought it was great that the kid was talking back to him. And no, that's a little thing that happened one Sunday morning 30 years ago.
Hmm.
And yet it still brings joy to my heart that this kid had the guts to stand up and say, that's wrong.
Hmm.
Or, and kids can stand up and say, that's right. You were talking about kids playing in fountains. A lot of the Dallas parks have fountains that are in the ground where the
Hmm.
water just
Oh,
squirts
I
out.
know what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so the kids can run through that, and they can run with their pets through that. And adults that don't mind being chilled to death can run through that. This adult doesn't. It's not that my knees will rust halfway through, but
Well, I think the thing that I get a kick out of this fountain in particular, it's like it's really grand and it's bronze and it's like sculpted to death. It's very European, you know?
oh yeah.
And it's basically a giant bowl and they climb over, they swim in it. You're like
I think sometimes when adults get upset about that, it's because we can't do it.
Yeah, no, no, the adults here, so that park that I talk about, it's really small. It's really elegant, but there are like four or five different, and there's a skateboarder park, right? They do their thing there. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's salsa here, and there's cumbia, which is another Latin here.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like, and then there's a clown at the other end, and then there's a rapper battle. This all happens in this one park, and it's like, I don't know, it's like a city block big.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not, maybe two, but it's really fun. It's really like alive and fun, and I really like it. I really like it, and it's
Yeah,
really close. I could walk there in 10 minutes.
that's fun.
Yeah, it's nice.
And
It's nice.
I think we all need to find that kind of a place in our life, or remember that kind of a time, so that we understand that when we share that kind of joy, it helps other people feel that kind of joy.
Yeah, yeah, because you like a lot of these people dancing, but there's always an enormous crowd watching them dance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and actually, we saw a couple yesterday. I had guests, and I took them through one of these like craft fair things. There's always a million of them, and they were playing music, and it was just one old couple, and they were in their 80s.
Mm-hmm.
They were in their 80s, but they had it down and they danced together. And it was like they were putting on a show. And it was beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
really beautiful. It really was.
Yep.
They brought their own music. They had the whole thing going on.
Cool. Way cool.
Yeah, this is a place that's full of a lot of happiness, and I like that. I mean, look, I could look for the bad things. It's here too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I could look, oh, well, this guy's sleeping on the street. I could concentrate on that. Or I could concentrate on the beautiful things that are like the trees are blooming,
Mm-hmm.
oh, look, that one tree on the block isn't doing well. It's like, well, what about all the ones that are?
Right.
Yeah.
And go hug the one that's not and give it good light.
Yeah. Maybe I'll dance around it.
Well, yeah, speaking of sparks of light, Danny Shea made it to Texas and he visited. We had brunch and we ate about a mile from my house at a really nice restaurant. And then he came back to meet Hogarth, my ley line tree.
Hmm.
And because he wanted to meet Hogarth, because I don't know if you heard the story, but one day I was sitting there and I got the message to call Danny and tell him that the oak trees that he walks through every day are trying to get his attention. They're really, really trying to get his, and why is he paying them no mind? I mean, he talks to, I mean, he likes the place, but they're really want him to look at them. And Hogarth said he needs to pay more attention to those trees. So I called and left Danny. This is the messages readers leave for each other, by the way. I called and left Danny a message. I said, Hogarth says you need to pay more attention to the trees you're walking around. They're really trying to get your attention. And when Danny heard my voicemail, he laughed because that morning, as he was walking through this, they're called coastal oaks, that's a cluster of trees below where he lives. He was down walking around and he actually tripped on a root and he's never tripped on the trail in there.
Mm.
That I swear that root had grown just to trip me. He thought that when he was walking with it, he goes, what the hell's that? So he looked around, he goes, yeah, these are oak trees. That's cool. I'm looking at oak trees.
Hmm.
And then when he got home that day, he got my message saying, these trees are really reaching out, trying to get a hold of you. And he said, yeah, enough to trip me. So he went back to where he'd gotten tripped. And there's a lion in the root. There's the shape of a lion in the root. And then he started looking around and he started seeing all these other faces and features in the trees that, I mean, and they're beautiful trees. He brought me pictures of them. So when he came to meet Hogarth, he brought an envelope of oak leaves from his oak thing to thank Hogarth for waking
Hmm.
him up.
I go and talk to the trees all the time.
I know
Um,
you
and
talk
I
to them.
listen to them more. I listen to them. Yeah. Yeah. I might even go today. I'll see. I do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do that a lot. And that's like another example of like how you could bring yourself joy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like go and sit and be with nature and see what it feels like and let it comfort you and let it take away all the stuff that you don't want. They really want you to do that. That's the
Mm-hmm.
message I keep on getting.
They got a
They're
whole
like,
root system to spit it out into the ground. Anne Marie, who's another reader that lives here in Dallas, she was with Danny and I. We all ended up hugging Hogarth.
mm-hmm,
And finally, Danny looks up and he goes, there's a bunch of people on the other side of the street staring at us. And it was noon. It was dog walker time. The dog walkers all kind of came out. Do you think it's safe to go over there and walk the dogs? They're hugging our tree. But
Hogarth needed it and wanted it.
yeah, and the I can tell you the elementals are out.
Yeah.
They're really. I had a lady who wrote me an email about getting advice because all her neighbors want to know about creating fairy gardens.
Hmm.
I told her some things they could do because she says now you walk down her whole block and there's a fairy garden in everybody's front.
Nice, nice, nice.
That's bringing in all kinds of good energy, guys.
Yeah. I have a house for the fairies in my garden too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
There was an old lady who lived in a shoe house out in mine.
Oh, that's cute.
Hmm.
That's cute.
And so what else we got to say about three candles? We're at three.
Well, honestly, the whole joy thing, I meditated on, in fact, you can get it on my site.
Mm-hmm.
I sat and I meditated on, I don't do it anymore. I've switched. It's good to switch every so often.
Mm-hmm.
I meditated on joy every day
Mm-hmm.
for years. And you light the light up in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it, don't imagine it, doesn't matter. Let it go through all of you and fill it with joy. It's like, well, how do I do that? Think of the kids running down the street. Think of a kite. Think of ice cream. Think of a joke. And you let that energy go through your whole body, or every cell, every membrane, and then you send it down. You share it, basically radiate it down to the earth. You see the earth receive it. She sends something back up. It's like you're doing pen pals in a way.
Mhm,
And then you go back into your heart and you send it up to your angels and guides
mhm,
and you let it flow and you let it flow in you. So now
mhm.
it's flowing into you like this. And then you just send it all out.
That's right.
It's a really simple meditation, but it's, if you direct your thought toward what you want, it's like if I get that little, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes of joy every day, like I'll remember it.
You'll
It's like it'll
carry it.
come back to me,
You
you
carry it
know?
with you. Once you've lit up that warmth, then it continues through you.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very simple. It's really easy. It's like I just choose joy, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
now,
oh, this isn't working, that isn't working. I don't have this, I don't have that. It's like, but what do you have? You've got watermelon candles. What do you want?
who knew? So we're going to go blow the candles out so that we'll have a watermelon candle at the end. Oh. And it's hard for me to blow because my breath is not what it should be.
Yay.
Yay. And with that, we say good night to everyone and
Good night.
blessings, and come go look up Jeffrey's shadow workbook at ripecolor.com. And
And our classes that are beginning April 30th.
mhm, mhm.
And I don't know, everything. And I do daily videos, and I'm going through the entire tarot deck. There's a whole playlist. It's either called Tarot Tuesdays or How to Read Tarot, or both.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty much, I think I only have about 15 cards left.
Wow.
Yeah,
That seems amazing because I remember when you started doing that. So
I know. Well, you were my first guest.
I know. Well, thank y'all for coming tonight and to visit with us. And we will see you in the future.
Joy, joy, joy.
See you tomorrow night, the same time. And I do believe it's Dr. Gale. And we're going to be talking about the fourth flame that witnesses balance. Have a good day.